We got you, ma'am. Thank you. Sorry about all the technical difficulty. Welcome to Middays.
Me too. How are you?
Doing fantastic. Wanted to get you on to share some insights to the extent you can about the fate of the Greenwood Leflore Hospital. What's happening there?
Well, unfortunately, we had a real setback on the Greenwood Leflore Hospital going forward with UMMC. So, as you all know, on Friday, we found out that UMMC had backed out of the leasing agreement or deal. So now we're back to square one of our situation at Greenwood Leflore Hospital, trying to see how we can keep the doors open for our citizens and surrounding areas so that they would still be able to seek some type of health care. So we're working really diligently towards that and getting with our medical board, the CEO and the administrative staff of Greenwood Leflore Hospital to work on the next step or the plan B, so to speak.
Right. So did UMMC provide any explanation, Mayor, as to why this deal fell through?
Well, according to them, it was a financial issue as well, that they, after looking at their financial situation, they've decided that maybe this was not the right time to move on this, and so that's why they decided to not move forward with the lease.
I see. What's the financial condition of the hospital, Greenwood Leflore Hospital? How's it doing? Is it producing a positive cash flow, or is it a negative cash flow?
No, it's been real difficult for the last several years. We've been facing this issue and trying to work with it. And then when COVID hit, it made it even, more difficult. And we did get the Medicaid advance payment loan. And so now we're working on paying that back and also trying to offer services without the Medicaid expansion. It's been really hard on everyone with the board and trying to get the finances there to keep the hospital doors open. We've done great and thought we were on our way to hopefully being successful with this because of the possibility of being able to partner and lease it back to UMMC. But since that's fallen through, now we're just trying to work real hard on a plan that we can keep some of the doors open at Greenwood Leflore Hospital. It won't be like the people are used to today or yesterday, but going forward, we're hoping that we can still have a hospital and the ability to take care of the citizens here, because there are so many citizens in Greenwood that rely on that hospital because they can't get in the car and go somewhere else. And we have a lot of those. In fact, we have a lot of people that walk to that hospital or get a friend to take them to that hospital. So that is going to create a real problem going forward, is how do we deal with our elderly or handicap and getting them accessibility to health. So it is a number one priority right now in the city of Greenwood, and we're working towards that goal.
How many employees does the hospital have on staff?
Okay, we had 458 as of Friday, and they are, laying people off to make the cash flow available to operate the hospital. So there have been some layoffs within this week, and to that, I'm not sure as to how many, and I don't know what that picture's going to look like when we get to the end of this week. I'm not sure of that, so I don't want to tell you an incorrect number.
I understand. Mayor, we're up against a break right here. If you can hang with us, we'll continue this discussion on the other side.
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining us, folks. We're in the Element Wealth studios on middays. We've got the mayor of Greenwood, Carolyn McAdams. We're talking about the fate of the Greenwood Leflore Hospital. We're coming right back. Thank everyone. Middays, SuperTalk Mississippi. The mayor of Greenwood, Carolyn McAdams, our guest, talking about the Greenwood Leflore Hospital. All right, so Mayor, you were just saying over 400 employees that
458.
458. And that was as of Friday. And since then, have there been some layoffs?
Yes, sir. There have been. Now, I do not know how many right now, but there have been some layoffs, and there will continue to be layoffs until we have the cash flow that we need in order to keep the doors open.
So, does the hospital provide some insight into that, Mayor, of what they mean by, or I get it, the cash flow, but is it lack of reimbursement from the various revenue sources, Medicare, Medicaid, private insurers? Is it a large component of uninsured care that is being provided?
Well, yes, it's a little bit of all of it, but mostly this hospital services most of the people that cannot pay. And so regardless of whether they can pay or not, they're seen and they're treated. And so we don't get reimbursed for that. And so we've been absorbing that cost, and it's just been difficult to keep on absorbing that cost without the repayment. So I commend the hospital, the staff, and the leaders of the hospital for keeping the doors open as long as they have. But I just want to reassure the people that we're going to work very, very hard to keep the Greenwood Leflore Hospital open for the people that need to be cared for in our city. So we're working, like I've said, that is our number one priority right now, keeping those doors open.
Would you happen to have, so Mayor, I get it, the uninsured care in particular that the hospital is absorbing where folks just can't pay. Would you happen to have the figures on what percentage of the care provided is being given to patients without any coverage and do not pay, essentially?
Well, unfortunately, in our area, I would say probably 80% are not paying. We probably have
80%.
20, yes, we probably have 20 to 25% of paying customers at Greenwood Leflore Hospital.
Okay. So 80% of the patients that receive care from the hospital do not pay because they don't have any coverage. Is that the issue, and really can't pay out of pocket?
Exactly. They cannot pay out of pocket, or they cannot pay what is necessary to be paid. So that's
Yeah.
this hospital has been absorbing that cost, and that's why the Medicaid expansion is so important to cities like the Mississippi Delta. I mean, we're not the only hospital that is suffering, but we're the I guess right now we're the only hospital facing this situation of dire stressed need of 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 the deal falling through, and now we're just having to deal with it on our own to keep it open.
So I just wonder how that compares to the other healthcare institutions across the state in terms of the percentage of care provided that goes to those without insurance and that's just not covered, uninsured care that is absorbed by the institution. Now, you do get some disproportionate share payments from the federal government, what they call dish payments, but I know that's been altered. It's been modified somewhat. I'm
Right,
assuming that's not
severely.
I'm assuming that's not covering the out-of-pocket cost here.
No, it's not. So, and that's been the hardship of it not being enough payment to cover that. So, like I said, if it's not enough, then the hospital absorbs that.
I got you. So you're probably aware that in the American Rescue Plan, which was enacted and signed into law by President Biden in March of 21, that included a provision which fairly significantly expanded the subsidies and credits in the Obamacare exchanges. In fact, it's actually exceeds the financial assistance provided under Medicaid, in that an able-bodied adult can get private coverage in the exchange for zero premiums, and most of their out-of-pocket is subsidized as well if their household income is less than 150% of the federal poverty level. I just wonder how many of those that otherwise would be eligible for Medicaid under expansion, which would in fact be extended, would extend the program to able-bodied adults. I wonder how many of them are signing up for this coverage. I don't hear a lot about that, and it just seems like a lot of folks just don't know. But that would at least provide some coverage that the hospital would get reimbursed for.
Well, that is correct and a good point. And you're right. I don't know if they don't know or they're afraid to choose that. I can't answer that question, but I'm assuming hopefully now we can get the word out that they can get that, and that they're able to apply for that. And
Yeah.
so maybe it is true that they don't know. I'm not real sure about that, uh, but like I said, I'm going to investigate into that and see if that is something that people just are not aware of, that they need to be extremely aware of going forward, for sure.
It's
Absolutely.
kind of flown, yeah. It's kind of flown under the radar. Haven't heard a lot about it. We've talked about it on here on the program. So that was put into place for a year under the American Rescue Plan, and then in the recently enacted Inflation Reduction Act, it was extended out for another 3 years. My guess is these sorts of programs they tend to become permanent, that it won't be reversed. But certainly in the interim, folks that otherwise would qualify for Medicaid under expansion could go to the exchanges and get private coverage, which I'm assuming the hospital accepts the carriers that sell coverage in Mississippi, and the Mississippi exchanges, most do. That would be something. It's better than no reimbursement for sure.
Absolutely. And I will get with the CEO and see if I can't get an answer to that question. I'm sure they are aware of it because, like I said, there's been no rock unturned trying
Yeah.
to keep it going, keep it open. That is our main goal, keeping that hospital open because it's such an important tool for economic development. I mean, we have prospects that are looking at Greenwood, and they're worried about the care of their employees, and I can't blame them. So that is a tremendous important tool for economic development to have in their toolbox, we have a
Right.
hospital.
Have you spoken to the governor or the lieutenant governor, anybody in state government about this issue?
Yes, I have talked to Lieutenant Governor Hoseman, and I've also spoken to the staff in the governor's office about this, and so have other people. There have been lots of people in Greenwood that have reached out to their legislators, their governor, their lieutenant governor, even the congressional senators that all reached out and asked for help. But like I said, when everyone is asking for help and having some similarity of this problem, then it becomes, you know, a difficult problem if the state could sustain everybody that is asking for help. I mean, Lieutenant Hoseman said in the session not too long ago at Hobnob, he said that if they had to take care of every hospital that was sort of bleeding right now, they would have $600 million that they would have to care for, and the state could not sustain $600 million.
Yeah, I heard that same figure, $600 million. I don't know what the data that substantiates that figure. I haven't seen that specifically, but I've heard that top level aggregate figure tossed out. What's your short term plan right now, Mayor?
Well, we're keeping it open. I mean, it's open. They're seeing patients, not doing that much surgery that would require them to stay in the hospital, but there's still outpatient surgery. There's still some doctors that did go over to UMMC and will be signing contracts with UMMC that have their own clinics, and so that's still there. So that's a good thing. So we have a lot of orthopedic patients here that are seeing orthopedic surgeons, and that's still open. So right now, in rehab ability to be rehabbed after you've had that surgery or you've had those issues. So right now, it's pretty. It you can be served. You can be served in Greenwood Hospital right now. Now, what it's
Okay,
going to look like next week or the next week, I can't say. It's sort of like an artist and looking at a canvas. I can't paint that picture yet.
understand. Mayor, appreciate you coming on and telling us about this situation. We'll be keeping up with it as well, and we'll be reporting on that. I'm sure we'll be talking to you some more. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for having me on here and telling the people what is actually happening here in Greenwood. And thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You bet. Yes, ma'am.
Have a
Carolyn
good day.
McAdams. You too, ma'am. The mayor of Greenwood, talking about the Greenwood Leflore Hospital. We'll come back. We've got another segment this hour.